The Supreme is revealing to Savitri what the future of the earth will be as a result of her tapasya, of her sadhana, of her insistence on her will and her mission to save earth and men. And he speaks of the coming of a higher race, the higher kind, the higher species shall lean to lift up man. And man, human beings, shall desire to climb to his own heights. The truth above shall wake a never truth, the truth that is involved in matter. And even the dumb earth become a sentient force. Sentient means with senses, with awareness. Even dumb matter shall become a sentient force. The spirit's tops and nature's base shall draw near to the secret of their separate truth and know each other as one deity. The spirit shall look out through matter's gaze, and matter shall reveal the spirit's face. Then man and superman shall be at one, and all the earth become a single life. Even the multitude shall hear the voice and turn to commune with the spirit within and strive to obey the high spiritual law. This earth shall stir with impulses sublime. Humanity awake to deepest self. Nature, the hidden godhead, recognize. Even the many shall some answer make, and bear the splendor of the divine's rush and his impetuous knock at unseen doors. A heavenlier passion shall upheave men's lives. Their mind shall share in the ineffable gleam. Their heart shall feel the ecstasy and the fire. Earth's bodies shall be conscious of a soul. Mortality's bond slaves shall unloose their bonds. Mere men into spiritual beings grow and see awake the dumb divinity. Intuitive beams shall touch the nature's peaks. A revelation stir the nature's depths. The truth shall be the leader of their lives. Truth shall dictate their thought and speech and act. They shall feel themselves lifted nearer to the sky, as if a little lower than the gods. For knowledge shall pour down in radiant streams, and even darkened mind quiver with new life, and kindle and burn with the ideal's fire, and turn to escape from mortal ignorance. The frontiers of the ignorance shall recede. More and more souls shall enter into light. Minds lit, inspired, the occult summoner here, and lives blaze with a sudden inner flame, and hearts grow enamored of divine delight, and human wills tune to the divine will. These separate selves, the Spirit's oneness feel. These senses of heavenly sense grow capable. The flesh and nerves of a strange ethereal joy, and mortal bodies of immortality. A divine force shall flow through tissue and cell, and take the charge of breath and speech and act, and all the thoughts shall be a glow of suns, and every feeling a celestial thrill. Often a lustrous inner dawn shall come, lighting the chambers of the slumbering mind. A sudden bliss shall run through every limb, and nature with a mightier presence fill. Thus shall the earth open to divinity, and common natures feel the wide uplift. Illumine common acts with the Spirit's ray, and meet the deity in common things. Nature shall live to manifest secret God. The Spirit shall take up the human play. This earthly life become the life divine.
This one was said by and
on November 24th, 1995, when Nirodha laid the foundation stone of the Savitri BHAVAN complex, he read us this passage. He said Sri Aurobindo had inspired him to read these lines from the top of page 710. The truth shall be the leader of their lives, down to the bottom. And on that day, he invoked the presence and the blessings of Sri Aurobindo and the Mother for this place. And their presence and their blessings have been very palpable here ever since that moment. I remember it very, very clearly. I would never have been part of this Savitri BHAVAN project if it hadn't been for that invocation, that moment, and what happened that day. It was very extremely special. About 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, that time.
The photograph was I had seen the photograph. The foundation stone and
he climbed down into the hole and put it. Yes. He was in his 90s then, but he did that for us. Yeah. And he used to love to come here. He inaugurated this building in August 1999. And I remember one day after that when he came, and the room was empty. We didn't have all the books here at that time. It was empty like it is today. And he stood more or less where Joel is sitting, and he looked for a long time. And he said, "I'm very happy to be here. It reminds me of the time that I spent with the Lord." For 12 years he was Sri Aurobindo's one of his team of disciples who were with him the whole day from 1939 to his passing in 1950. 12 years with Sri Aurobindo. Yes, beautiful book. And Nirodha was a very, very beautiful person. So, back to Savitri. This way we're going, yes, Rosa.
The spirit stops and nature's bay shall know near to the secret of their separated truth and know each other as one deity.
Yes. So the spirit stops the very highest levels of spiritual consciousness, and nature's base, the very lowest levels of nature consciousness. Through the influence of supermind and the supramental race, these two extremes will first of all, each of them, draw near to the secret and mystery of their separate birth. How comes the spirit's heights and nature's base seem to us to be so separated in our experience, in material experience? So both the tops and the base will come closer to their own truth, source and origin, and through that they will realize that they are one deity. It's not two separate things. It's two aspects of one divine being. That's elaborated in the next two lines, please, Martin.
The spirit shall look out through matter's gate, and matter shall reveal the spirit's face.
This is only possible because they are one deity. The spirit shall look out through matter's gaze, all this material, physical eyes of all the living beings, and matter, this apparently unconscious matter, will reveal the face of the spirit. Bhavana.
Then man and superman shall be at one, and all the earth become a single life.
Yes. So human beings and that higher kind, they will be at one, in harmony. For some people, the idea of a superhuman race is frightening, because they think that those superhuman beings will probably treat us human beings in the thoughtless and unkind way that human beings often treat the animals and the plants and the earth. But Sri Aurobindo is saying, no, it is not like that. They will be in harmony, and the higher kind will be helping all the other kinds to rise up to its own height. Man and Superman shall be at one, and all the earth become a single life. Chandra.
Even the multitude shall hear the voice, and turn to humble with the spirit within, and strive to obey the high spiritual law. This earth shall stir with impulses sublime. Sublime. Humanity awake to deepest self. Nature that hidden, co-pride,
Recognize. Even the multitude, even the masses, the many, will hear the voice with a capital V, that voice from above that comes to Savitri, and to King Aswapati. Even the multitude, even the mass of ordinary people will be able to hear that voice, and they will turn to commune, to have a conversation, a dialogue with the spirit within. And they will try to obey the high spiritual law. So then this whole earth will stir. It is as if it will wake up with sublime impulses. Humanity shall awake, become aware of the deepest self. That is our difficulty at the moment. We can't easily communicate with our deepest self or be aware of it. We have to do a lot of waking up before we can have that constant awareness. But he says it will happen. And nature will recognize the Godhead, the divinity which is hidden within her. Subbu?
Even the many shall sound and swell men, and bear the splendor of the divine push, and his impetus is knock at unseen doors.
This is going to happen to many, many people. Even the many shall make some response, and they will feel something of the splendor of the divine force rushing into them, and feel his impetuous knock at unseen doors, as if the divine within us is hammering, banging, open up, let me out of these doors that we can't even find. They're invisible to us. Gumsum.
O heavenly passion shall upheave men's lives. Their mind shall share in the ineffable dream. Their heart shall feel the ecstasy and the fire.
So we have passions, we have intense feelings, but very often they are not very heavenly. They come from lower levels of our being. But he says a more heavenly kind of passion shall lift up, heaving up men's lives, so that human minds will be able to share in the ineffable gleam, that gleam of higher light which can be experienced but not described, not expressed. And the human hearts shall feel the ecstasy and the fire of the divine touch.
So seeing the fire is different from aspiration.
Maybe it's also aspiration. The fire may be of adoration or something like that, the intense flame of feeling rising up to the Supreme. Yeah. Perhaps also the purifying fire. That's one of the qualities of fire. No? If we want to sterilize something, we will pass it through a flame. That's what the Agni does. It burns up all the impurities. Joel.
Earth's bodies shall be conscious of a soul. Mortality's bond slaves shall loose their bonds. Mere men into spiritual beings go and see awake the dumb divinity.
Yes. So the bodies themselves will become conscious of the indwelling soul inside of them. And that will enable us, who are at the moment bond slaves to death, to mortality. We don't have any choice about the matter. Because of the nature of our physical bodies, we know that we have to die. But, he says, through that touch, when the earth bodies become conscious of a soul, we shall become able to unloose our bonds, to become free of that grip of ignorance and death. Just ordinary men, ordinary human beings shall grow into spiritual beings. And not just in vision and in dream, but awake, they will be able to experience the dumb divinity. That divine being that at the moment doesn't speak to us, or we don't hear it. Naren.
Intuitive beings shall touch the nature's peaks, a revelation stir the nature's depths. The truth shall be the leader of their lives. Truth shall dictate their thought and speech and act. They shall feel themselves lifted nearer to the sky, as if a little lower than the gods.
Intuition and revelation are two of the highest levels of consciousness on the way to supermind. So he says that rays of intuitive knowledge will touch the peaks, the higher levels of the nature. But that next higher power of revelation will stir, will move in the depths of the nature. Then, for human beings, the truth shall be the leader of their lives. Truth shall dictate, it will tell them what to think and what to say and how to act. And they will feel themselves lifted up towards heaven, as if to be human is only a little lower than being a god. Leila.
For knowledge shall pour down in radiant streams, and the even darkened mind quiver with new life, and kindle and burn with the ideal's fire. and turn to escape from mortal ignorance.
Yes. So from those higher levels, the nature's peaks, knowledge will be pouring down like rivers of light, radiant streams, so that even darkened mind, not only those people who have somehow tried to open up to a higher illumination, but all the minds, even darkened mind, shall quiver with new life, and it'll be as if it's caught fire somehow, kindle and burn with the fire of the ideal. The ideal are those high concepts which we aspire for, no? Ideal love, an ideal life, truth. Darkened mind will begin to look up and long for those things, and it will try to escape from mortal ignorance. Jerry, you'd like to read?
The frontiers of the ignorance shall recede. More and more souls shall enter into light. Minds lit, inspired, the occult summoner here. And lives blaze with a sudden inner flame. And hearts grow enamored of divine delight. And human wills tuned to the divine will. These separate selves, the spirit's oneness feel. These senses of heavenly sense grow capable, the flesh and nerves of a strange ethereal joy, and mortal bodies of immortality.
The first line is, more and more souls shall enter into light. This is the promise. This is what's going to happen. The borders of the ignorance will recede. They'll draw back. So there's less and less ignorance. So then this word shall, which comes in these two lines, we have to understand that word in each of the other lines of the sentence. Minds that have been lit and inspire shall hear the occult summoner, that hidden voice which calls to us to wake up, come. And if the minds are lit and inspired, and if they hear that hidden summoner, then the lives will suddenly blaze up with a sudden inner flame. And the hearts shall grow enamored of divine delight. They will fall in love with the divine delight, and they won't be able to enjoy any other kind of delight except as aspects of that divine delight. And then human wills will tune to the divine will. They will want to be in tune with the divine will, responding to and expressing the divine will. All these separate selves shall feel the oneness of the Spirit. There's something about that in today's message from the ashram. We can look at it afterwards. These senses, our senses of hearing, of sight, taste, smell, touch, they shall grow capable of heavenly sense. We'll be able to feel and enjoy and respond to things in a much truer and finer way. The flesh and nerves of the body shall grow capable of another kind of joy. The nerves and the flesh of our mortal body does feel delight of a certain kind, and sometimes we get a thrill of delight, no? But this will be a different kind of joy, an ethereal joy, something much subtler and finer and higher. And through that, the bodies which now have to die will grow capable of immortality. Kamala.
A divine force shall flow through tissue and cell, and take the charge of breath and speech and act, and all the thoughts shall be the glow of sun, and every feeling a celestial thrill.
Sri Aurobindo's written a sonnet about that's called The Golden Light. He speaks about how the golden light comes down into the brain and then into the throat, I think, and the heart. And finally it comes down to the feet. No? So that divine force shall flow through all the tissue and cells and take charge. That's what will be in control of every breath, of the speech, of the actions, and all the thoughts shall be like a glow of suns. This is the mind of light, no? And every feeling a celestial thrill, a divine thrill. Ganga Lakshmi.
Often a lustrous inner dawn shall come, lightening the chamber of the slumbering mind. A sudden bliss shall run through every limb, and nature with a mighty presence fill.
So the first canto of this book is called The Symbol Dawn. That dawn that comes, which if we can get up early enough in the morning, we can experience the way that the light of a new day emerges from the darkness as the sun comes up towards the horizon. That's the symbol of every kind of new awakening that we can have in consciousness, in life. So here he's speaking about those inner dawns, how often a lustrous inner dawn shining with that soft, miraculous dawn light, it shall come lighting up the chambers, the private rooms where the mind is slumbering, sleeping. And when that lustrous inner dawn comes and wakes up the mind, then a sudden bliss shall run through every limb, through every part of the body. And nature shall be filled with a mightier presence, that divine presence which is hidden behind nature will reveal itself. Corinne.
Thus shall the birth open to divinity, and common natures feel the wide uplift. Illumine common acts with the Spirit's ray, and meet the deity in common things.
So the whole earth and all the beings and people on it will open up to the divinity descending from above and emerging from within. And even common natures, very ordinary people like you and me, will feel that wide uplift. No? And common acts will be illumined, lit with the ray of the Spirit. And common natures will be able to meet the deity, the divine quality, in common things. It's one of the mantras that Sri Aurobindo has given, I think in the 30s. Sri Aurobindo, Mira, open my mind, my heart, my life and body to your light, your love, your power. In all things may I see the divine.
Nature shall live to manifest secret God. The spirit shall take up the human plane. This earthly life become the life divine.
Yes. So this summarizes everything, no? Nature will exist only to manifest, to show, to make outwardly real to us that God who's at the moment secret and hidden behind the appearances of nature. Now the human play is dominated by mind and life and body, but the spirit shall take up the human play, and the whole earthly life shall become the life divine. Man carries within himself perfect power, perfect wisdom, and perfect knowledge. And if he wants to possess them, he must discover them in the depth of his being by introspection and concentration. Introspection means looking inside oneself. These divine qualities are identical at the center, at the heart of all beings. This implies the essential unity of all and all the consequences of solidarity and fraternity that follow from it. Thank you very much, sir. Those who wish to stay and read, we can read this wonderful passage. The spirit stops, and nature's base shall draw near to the secret of their separate truth, and know each other as one deity. The spirit shall look out through matter's gaze, and matter shall reveal the spirit's face. Then man and superman shall be at one, and all the earth become a single life. Even the multitude shall hear the voice and turn to commune with the spirit within, and strive to obey the high spiritual law. This earth shall stir with impulses sublime, humanity awake to deepest self, nature the hidden godhead recognize. Even the many shall some answer make, and bear the splendor of the divine's rush, and his impetuous knock at unseen doors. A heavenlier passion shall upheave men's lives. Their mind shall share in the ineffable gleam. Their heart shall feel the ecstasy and the fire. Earth's bodies shall be conscious of a soul. Mortality's bond slaves shall unloose their bonds. Mere men into spiritual beings grow, and see awake the dumb divinity. Intuitive beams shall touch the nature's peaks, a revelation stir the nature's depth. The truth shall be the leader of their lives. Truth shall dictate their thought and speech and act. They shall feel themselves lifted nearer to the sky, as if a little lower than the gods. For knowledge shall pour down in radiant streams, and even darkened mind quiver with new life, and kindle and burn with the ideal's fire, and turn to escape from mortal ignorance. The frontiers of the ignorance shall recede. More and more souls shall enter into light. Minds lit, inspired, the occult summoner hear, and lives blaze with a sudden inner flame, and hearts grow enamored of divine delight, and human wills tune to the divine will. These separate selves the Spirit's oneness feel. These senses of heavenly sense grow capable. The flesh and nerves of a strange ethereal joy, and mortal bodies of immortality. A divine force shall flow through tissue and cell, and take the charge of breath and speech and act, and all the thoughts shall be a glow of suns, and every feeling a celestial thrill. Often a lustrous inner dawn shall come, lighting the chambers of the slumbering mind. A sudden bliss shall run through every limb, and nature with a mightier presence fill. Thus shall the earth open to divinity, and common natures feel the wide uplift, illumine common acts with the Spirit's ray, and meet the deity in common things. Nature shall live to manifest secret God. The Spirit shall take up the human play. This earthly life become the life divine.